Hello, this is Rich Whitworth, editor of BioPharm International, and I'm here today to speak with Anjan Selts, who's the co-founder and CEO of Phinox Biotech. Welcome, Anjan.
Good to talk to you this morning.
Thank you very much for your time. We'll hopefully have a chance to speak on a number of occasions on a different set of topics. But firstly, maybe you could give us a brief introduction into Phinox Biotech.
Yes. We have founded the company in late 2007 and with the goal of developing biosimilars, but not just being within a Me Too approach, but differentiating these products substantially through injection technology. We believe that there must be some differentiation within a product offering, and so actually we kind of combine the generic idea of biosimilars with strong product differentiation. We have founded the company just in an office, a couple of people in an office, and we don't have any infrastructure in regards to biotech development or production. So we are organized in a virtual kind of setup, a virtual supply chain. We have a network of partners supplying us the compound, doing formulation, fill finish, doing the product confectioning. We have partners for analytics. We have partners for almost everything. We don't even run our own IT system. We have everything in-sourced. And that's what we have been doing for the last 4 years.
I guess we can also then lead into the when you presented at CPHI earlier in the year, you mentioned that you went from cell bank to phase 3 in 4 years. That was kind of the hook of the presentation, which is very impressive and I think captured the attention of everyone in the audience. So perhaps you can just give us a kind of brief overview of that process before we go into a little bit more detail.
We have set up the company actually with just a lot of money in the bank account and a couple of people in an office. And when you go into drug development, it's all about taking risks and spending loads of money. So for us, the goal was to come as fast as possible to earning money. And therefore, we believe we should do a very going forward project plan and project organization and realization. The first thing we did was we sat down and when we had identified the target, I believe we will be talking about it later. When we had identified the target, we sat down with a couple of partners we already had identified at this moment, and we just openly asked them what is to be done now in your area, and these people will tell us what they would expect to be done. And so we pulled together somehow of a project plan, and even though we knew that this project plan would not be complete at this moment, then we just said, okay, that shall be the fundament for us going forward on it. And we then expected our partners to deliver on very short timelines, and this probably was also the case that they delivered actually on short timelines due to the fact that we have had a kind of a specific selection of partners. I believe also this topic will be addressed in a later section. Yes, so we chose partners that all had the similar goal to ours. For them, our first product should be also one of their products bringing money into their company. So they knew very well if they wouldn't go forward in kind of a fast way, then actually they wouldn't earn a dime either. So this was probably one issue that helped us going forward fast within 4 years. As I said, we first made a sound fundament with an overall project plan. The second thing we did is we went with this project plan more into detail, and we developed a clinical, non-clinical and clinical development plan for the first compound. And when we had this all together, we directly went to regulatory authorities and discussed with them what expectations would they have for such a compound to be registered somewhere in the future. And so from the very beginning on, we took in regulatory advice, and that's actually then the way we followed based on this advice. Another thing we did was we didn't kind of give the task to someone and then call them up a year later and ask them whether they had fulfilled the task. We actually followed, be it internally within my team, be it with our external partners, we followed these people very narrowly. We kept kicking them in order to make a step forward. And sometimes there is a decision that comes up that has to be taken in order to make a step forward in your product development. And very often these decisions are difficult to take because at the moment you should take the decision, actually, you don't have all the knowledge that is within this decision. So what we did is we didn't stay put just in order to gather 100% of the knowledge, but very often we just said, okay, we have 2 or 3 alternatives. We looked at the risks of each alternative. We looked at the opportunities of each alternative, and then we just had the courage to go forward with in one direction. And as we never probably had the full picture on the decision we had taken, we always also prepared fallback plans. So in case we had taken alternative A, and a couple of months later we would see, okay, it doesn't work out as we have expected it to do. Well, we already had the fallback plan on our office desk, and we could just bring it in front and follow this fallback plan then. It's not a sophisticated process, but it's a mindset, I believe. It's a mindset within my team. It's a mindset with my partners that once we have decided on something, we follow it thoroughly, but we are always open to put ourselves into question again. And we are not too noble in order to rearrange our decisions. There are some people there that they just stick too much on the decisions once they have taken it, and they just go forward with they see it doesn't come out nicely, and they just follow it because as a manager you take a decision, you have to stick to it. But I don't believe that. I believe as a manager you can go wrong, and if you go wrong, well, then just be honest and take an alternative.
So perhaps then we can talk a little bit about the actual lead candidate that you decided to choose and some of the reasoning behind that. Your lead drug is Afolia.
Yes, correct. It is Afolia. Afolia is a recombinant follicle-stimulating hormone, which is used mostly in the in vitro fertilization setting. So Afolia, what we have done in order to make the bridge from the last topic, what we have done with Afolia over the 4 years. In 2008, we have established a cell bank and chosen the clone we established a cell bank with. We went all through the non-clinical testing of the drug substance. We built up drug substance manufacturing actually also. We went then in 2009 into drug substance validation. In parallel, we started up phase 1 clinical testings, and in parallel, we already prepared phase 3 clinical testings. So when we had good results on non-clinical issues and on phase 1 issues early 2010, we could address the authorities with the request for a clinical trial phase 3, and we entered phase 3 clinical trial right away in summer 2010 across 6 Western European countries. And now we are at the end of phase 3 clinical testing with this first compound, which is Afolia, as you said.
Okay.
Afolia There is a reason behind we have chosen the Folia and not another compound, and probably we should address this topic as well.
Certainly, yes. I mean, you mentioned in your presentation at CPI that one of the big decisions to make is whether you go with a blockbuster or look into a niche market, and I think perhaps you can tell us a little bit about that.
Yes. We have, I believe, done a very careful selection of our first compound, and there were many parameters that led us to the choice of follicle-stimulating hormone. One parameter is our company setting, as I said. We are just a couple of people in an office, and the company itself would not have any previous experience in drug development. Well, actually, my people that represent the team, they have many years of experience in drug development, but we as a company didn't have it. So for us, it couldn't be the most complex issue as the first target already. Second, what I said about the startup company, if you need some kind of reasonable time horizon in order to earn money instead of only spending money. So we also had to take a compound which could be developed in a fast way compared to other compounds which probably have much longer, especially clinical development.
Right.
Then, if you look at the complexity of the molecule, and you look at it in the light of the regulatory expectations, there is a big difference in biologics. Actually, follicle-stimulating hormone is a large molecule, yes, but it's one of the small large molecules. So compared to monoclonal antibody, we're in a total different class with a follicle-stimulating hormone. I mean, if you only count the amino acid sequences we have on our molecule, it's just a small part of what a monoclonal antibody would have. And if you then think of doing a full protein characterization exercise, and you either compare some small molecule or you go at a very large molecule, it makes much difference in regards to project timing. It makes much difference in regards to investments to be taken in order to do these exercises. So for us, it was clear we had to take a small molecule out of the big ones. If then you look at other aspects such as the regulatory expectations, there are in 2007 there was no specific guideline on follicle-stimulating hormone, but you already knew that EMA, the European Medicines Agency, would come up with one probably soon, because FSH was one of the primary targets in biosimilar development in Europe. So you could expect some regulatory guidance on the topic also, and this is actually what we then also experienced with EMA, which helped us a lot in drawing up our development plan. So this was a goal as well on the regulatory side. Then if you look at the patent issue, biosimilars is, I believe, a kind of a tricky situation, because if you come as a small company with a biosimilar that wants to have a reasonable share of the market, the originator companies, they will not just give it away for free, this share of market. And so the patent situation must be quite a clear one also. And on FSH, it's quite a clear picture, we believe. And so on the patent issues, we had a green light as well for this product. And yet another very important parameter for us, as I said at the very beginning of this discussion, we always intended not just to do a Me Too approach with our biosimilars. We definitely wanted to do a differentiation within the product. And the FSH therapy is a therapy you can very easily differentiate through the injection device technology. The patient, she usually is only confronted with such a therapy for 10, 15 days in all her life. So if you can bring a device which makes the patient more compliant, which makes the administration more safe, which ensures therapy success, then you can definitely bring this as your key differentiation to the prescribing physician later on. And FSH is definitely a product you can easily differentiate with such injection device technology. If you look at who is in the market, I believe this is a very important parameter also. You should be knowledgeable about with whom you would compete in the future, and for this, it's not only the reference products that may be out there currently, but it's also what will happen in 5 years from now when probably you will come to market with your compound. And with FSH, we knew that there were actually it's kind of an oligopolistic situation with two major companies, the two Mercks, which are competing in this market, but they have kind of a tranquil competition. It's not about pricing, it's more about who is drawing the latest post-approval study and thereby can convince the prescribing physician. Actually, the market has been quite stable over the last years. And so with a setting of not even a handful of companies out in the market currently, there is still some room for a new brand to be positioned in the prescribing physician's brain. And I believe finally you need to sell the product, and you will only sell it through prescriptions, and therefore you also need to think of how will I position the product? Will I be able to come up with a brand that is recognizable? Will I be able to get some brain space in the prescribing physician's head?
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense, and I know probably the last thing you mentioned there about you need to look what's going to happen in 5 years' time. I think certainly to ensure that your product will still be attractive and relevant in the future before going through all the development phases is important. And I know you mentioned in your presentation before about checking what's going on patent as well as what's coming off patent. We hear a lot about off patent for biosimilars, but as you mentioned, checking the market, you need to also ensure that you know what is going on patent, so the market share could change in the future.
Yes, the patent discussion for me is if I go to conferences and I hear people talking about patents, it's always about patents, things going off patent, and I miss a little bit the part of things going on patent, because within our development we had this situation that there was a patent application. It was, we believe, it was quite very weak. We had classified it as not that much threatening to us, and still all of a sudden it would go on patent. There was a patent officer cleaning his desk on the 23rd of December, I believe, and he put the stamp on the wrong side of the form, and actually instead of denying the patent application, he would agree to it, and this reshuffled our development plan quite substantially. And we had seen this patent application, and we did not recognize it as strong enough in order to be threatened by it. But still, reality has proven us wrong. And from then on, we took this kind of as a warning message to us, and we then went into a continuous process of looking what might be going on patent, because we believe that the very patent situation that we have seen is a patent situation where originator companies would only do this as a defense for future biosimilar, against future biosimilar market entries. Market will probably not be decided within the market, but probably at the patent attorney's desk.
I see. So I think we've covered sort of candidate selection and reasons for your choice of portfolio. I know you mentioned earlier you describe yourself as a virtual biotech company, I guess. So obviously you mentioned you have many partners. So perhaps you could just briefly tell us reasons for choosing partners, and then maybe some of the problems that you've encountered.
Yes. We actually the Phenox came to happen because there was a biotech company addressing my current investor. They were looking for someone who had two things they were missing. This biotech company would have a couple of cell clone candidates in their pipeline for various products, but they were missing money and they were missing devices. And actually, they were addressing our investor and asked them whether he would not want to set up a joint company with them. And as always, they would come up first with an EPO idea, and we didn't like the EPO idea, and we have already talked about how we did the candidate selection. But we then went and talked with these people, and we saw they would have the scientific capacity to do it. But actually, it's a scientific company, so for them and us, it was a big learning curve we had to go through. And one of the biggest issues on this side of our development was that scientific activities are probably not always meeting regulatory expectations. Regulatory expectations, yes, they want science, but they want to have it presented in a very strict form. You can't just do some science and then bring it down to a paper. You have to do the science, but then pack it into the template of the regulatory authority. And this was probably one problem within the partnering activities we encountered regularly, that we had to first identify what the regulatory expectation would be in regards to how science shall be presented, and then kind of implement this expectation within our partners' processes and structures. So this biotech partner, they supply us with the API, and but having an API ain't enough. We have to work on this API, and we have to do some formulation and fill. And for formulation and fill, actually, if you want to do a cartridge presentation, as we have a cartridge presentation, there are not that many companies out there, and actually there's just a handful of companies in Europe that do such processes. And when we then went out and said which company would probably be the best, we had one company, very well-known company, quite large company, and for whom our product wouldn't represent a big volume. But this company has a very good reputation, but with a good reputation come very high prices. So we would not choose this company. Why wouldn't we choose this company? We would not choose this company because we wouldn't want this good reputation, but we did not want to choose this company because we have to focus on COGS all the time also, in order to be able to bring a affordable product to the patient. So we can't choose the Rolls-Royce. The second thing is what I said in regards to volumes. If you go to a partner for whom you are number 397 in their priority list, that ain't much fun. It is much more fun to be number one or number two in the priority list. So for a small company as ours, we had to look at small and medium-sized companies. And within these small and medium-sized companies, it's quite tricky to find reliable partners. What we usually do in selecting partners, we do first a internet search. Who has these competencies? Then we come to a long list, which we bring to a short list over various steps. One step is, for example, we look with whom do our competitors work with, and if they are too closely knit to a certain company, we will kick it out of our long list. We then would go into other parameters, such as I already said, are they large companies or smaller companies? One very important thing is we always ask our partners, or within our network, we ask people what do you think about this company? Have you already had an experience with them? What was your success? What were the failures with them? Are they able to execute the project, or are they only talking about projects? And so we come to a short list of companies that we might probably want to work with. And out of this last selection, there is then a very, very easy choice. Who has time now to serve me now? Because being served later is not that much fun if you want to go to market fast. Who has time now, and who is within my cultural setting? I believe many companies, they just go to the other end of the world because they get some service or product a little bit cheaper, but it makes things so much difficult if you have to work around time zones, around cultural hurdles. So actually, we choose our partners all within Western Europe, smaller companies with sound experience, and that's about the partner selection.
Great. When you've got so many partners all working on different aspects of the project, what kind of methods did you use to connect them together?
We actually put these partners together into one project. We don't do the the silo approach. We don't put one partner into project on the left-hand side and the other partner on the right-hand side, and they don't know each other. We knit them closely together. We very often also take representatives of the one partner together to meetings with representatives of the other partner. We have a very transparent approach. We try to help these people understand that finally it will be our common process which will make up our product. And only if you have this understanding that it is one flow of a process across all of your partners, only then you will be able to overcome all the interfaces between these partners. We have very often we discuss with partners, as I already said, about the selection of the partner next in line to them. So these people feel involved because they have taken part of they're part of the decision. We take them into these meetings and we let them decide, or at least we let them make a proposal what could be decided by us. So these are all elements that we try to bring these partners all in line. And lately it's very small things in the end that helps you knit together these people. It's probably sometimes just a common dinner. You just have instead of just flying out and meeting these people and hop onto the plane again, well, probably you stay overnight and you take these people out and you have a nice evening out with them. And so these people all feel part of the same team, even though they sit in different locations and work for different companies. Finally, they all feel part of this Afolia project. And
well, in that sense, I guess you ensure that they are true partners in the project rather than simply contractors, I guess.
Yes, correct. I would never call one of my partners being a contractor. I would never call them just for sending me an offer and I would then ask this service to be supplied. I would always talk about the project and where we want to go and what their piece of the big puzzle would be, and I would always put them in the full context, and I would never just kind of disregard them as contractors. I would always make them part of the success story in order to make them feel part of the whole instead of just being a service provider.
Great, very interesting. Well, thank you very much for your time. I know we'll be talking again soon on a couple of other topics within your experience. So thank you so much, and we'll speak again soon. Thank you.
Thank you.